So I appreciate you all being on time, and I value your time, and those that straggle in will straggle in, and here we go. So how's everyone doing?
Great.
Patrick, good to see you. Nice to see all of the smiling faces. Guess I should be on camera a little bit, but anyway, as I had mentioned earlier to a few of you, I actually was in Montana for the last 4 or 5 days. I still got goosebumps, chill bumps, because it's like, I think one day a high of 37 with winds and hail, a little bit of hail. Yeah, fun, but cold, especially when you're not used to that. I'm always rough and tough Montanianite, but it was like, I've been here 23 years, so I probably when my blood's thinned out.
You're used to the heat.
Slept with a electric blanket.
Oh.
Anyway, again, thank you for being here. My name's Tim Sams. For those of you that don't know me, I've been in the business since 2000, roughly, in some shape or form. I worked for a lead gen company for about 7.5 years, doing lead gen branding and marketing. So I kind of got a lot of what I do today when I help agents. And at a previous title company for about 7 years. And here I am with ROC Title about 2. So again, thank you. All right, so don't be afraid to throw up your hand, ask questions. I just kind of make this as casual as I can, and hopefully you'll take away something. So show of hands, who's currently doing some shape or form of farming? Okay, and what does that sound like or look like? If you want to disclose your secret sauce, you don't have to, but what does that look like? What does that feel like? Is it postcards?
Yeah, postcards.
And then consistently?
No, I'm just starting.
Okay,
I just asked ROC Title.
all right, good.
I did do that.
Postcards,
Yeah,
and then my SOI. I combine it. Whatever I send to my SOI, it goes to the farm.
nice.
And eventually newsletters.
Okay,
We have, but I do call them.
good, good. A lot of people don't call. A lot of people just are like cold calling. It's not really cold if you're calling your SOI or your sphere of influence, but still, there's some people that are like, yes, give me headphones and let's do this, and there are other people like, I'll do everything else. But that's okay, whatever works for you. The whole point of it is being consistent in your practices. That's where you're going to see results. So if you can kind of come up with a system or a process, just rinse, wash, and repeat that process. Of course, you can make adjustments as you go, but that's where you're going to see, I think, some leads come out of what you're doing, so on and so forth. Patrick, what are you working on right now as far as marketing?
The postcards,
Okay.
go to the text valuations,
Okay.
I do the magazines,
Okay.
which those only go out to my clients that I bought and sold with. That's it so far. I want to do the newsletter, but it's a struggle to get a class on this thing.
Getting a template in place, that process.
Just
Getting all the moving parts to flow together.
using the Realty One Group Sync program, the CRM.
Okay.
3 months now.
It's
Yeah.
a struggle. I had that battle, and I just haven't touched it for probably a couple of years now, because I just struggled with trying to find any assistance on how to work it.
Right.
And then they sent me to one source at Sync or whatever. They said I had to take this class for over $400 to learn how to use it. I'm like, if they're offering it to me, somebody should be able to teach me how to use it.
Yeah.
So-
It's been on the plate for Realty One Group, at least at the Summerlin office, for like 3 months, and it keeps getting canceled or pushed back, or something else comes
Yeah.
up, but we do the agent mastermind at the Summerlin office. It was every Tuesday, now it's only once a month. So sometimes we just sit in there, just the agents, and we all just kind of try to figure stuff
figure it
out.
out. Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, they did have some really good videos on how to do your website, and they were like 45 minutes long. Well, then I went back in to go update, to try to work on it again, because I need the video again, because I haven't done it for a while. And they took those videos down. And then I'm like, well, where are my tutorial videos? Like,
They're on ROC Title.
Yeah.
well, but they shortened them, and I can't ever seem to get what I need. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, I haven't looked for a couple of years, because then I was really frustrated, because I want that 45-minute one that takes me through in detail, not a 3-minute clip that doesn't give me what I'm trying to do.
It's
You know
too
what I'm
difficult
saying?
trying to watch the videos and do it because you run into issues and then there's no one to ask to advance any further, which is
Right.
what we ran into. You get started, it's like, okay, cool, we're gonna get this set up so we can send a newsletter, and then boom, you hit a roadblock. You're watching a video,
Yeah.
there's no one to call, there's no one to ask, there's nothing, so then you're just stopped. So, 3 months, there's a whole group of us that have been trying to do this because we wanna send the newsletters and send it up in CRM, but.
That's gonna be the challenge. So when I was at the previous title company, I was a coach for the CRM. It was, I can't believe Salesforce, 500-pound gorilla, right? And it's not specific to real estate. And when I came to ROC Title, we didn't have a CRM, and I was like, holy mackerel. It's a fish, by the way. I was like, I can't function without a CRM because my world has been a CRM for 7+ years. So you're always going to have those challenges with any program. The best CRM is going to be one that you, for the most part, use and like, right? And then finding that can be a challenge. One that I found is Lion Desk, albeit it's not free. And I know that we do provide a CRM, but then there's challenges, and there'll be challenges here potentially too. But this one I think runs about maybe $35 a month, 39-ish maybe, if you wanted to look at an option. One of the things I like about this program is it has text messaging, it has print in it, it has email, and then it also has, as an example, let's say you do an open house and you're gathering leads. Okay, now I want to get those leads into my CRM. I can do that, but then what? What does that communication look like once you get them into your CRM? This program, and I think they still have it, anybody that has Lion Desk across the United States has drip campaigns, and they put them out there for free for you to view. So you can go through open house campaigns and like, oh, this one has 725 downloads, this one's 50, this one's 2,000, let me look at the one that's 2,000, download it, and then you put your information in, and then you hit send, and it goes through the drip campaign without having to recreate that whole drip campaign. So let me know. Happy to help talk CRMs when the time's right. But I firmly believe that that is the cornerstone, the hub, the brain, and when it comes to your core business. Because once you get it up and running and you get things in place that are automatic or systemized, you know what I'm saying. Then it becomes your assistant per se. Okay? All right, so without a doubt, and if you disagree, let me know, and that's fine. Without a doubt, you're in your own business. You're already disagreeing?
Well, no, I have a question. How does that compare to this Prospects Plus on the?
That's a great idea. I don't have access to MLS.
Oh.
Prospect Plus, is that what it's called?
It's called Prospects Plus.
Ring a bell with anybody?
Yeah, Prospects is the one that's provided through LVR.
Right.
Okay.
I started to use it, really difficult to use. It doesn't have a lot of the functions that even the one that Realty One Group offers through Sync has, so I didn't even move forward with it. So I'm gonna try to use the Realty One Group's Sync program.
Oh, that's good to know, because I was thinking about, I was gonna go through the
I
online
started
training
putting
for
my
prospects.
contacts in there, and then a lot of people started saying, don't waste your time,
Yeah.
you're gonna get everything in there and realize that it doesn't do so many things that a lot of these other ones do. And then even the Realty One Group one is free, and it's based off of Sync. So if you use it, it will work. And Prospects would work just as well, I guess, but it's just really difficult to use and it's hard to get help
Yeah.
through LVR.
And then just reach out to me, shoot me a text, and I'll send you what links I have. I didn't get a sign-in sheet because, again, I just got it late last night from Montana. So, but there are links out there for the free version of what Realty One provides. And I think they're,
Like I said, I haven't investigated it
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a while, but I do need to update my website,
Okay.
and the CRM and whatnot.
so without a doubt, lead gen is, I think, your most important function within your business for the most part. You should be at least trying to talk with 5 people a day, track it. The more conversations that you can have, the more opportunities for leads to pop up. Hone your skills. Know your market. Those are great topics to talk with people about. Always be learning, always be closing. Always comes to mind. All right. Okay, so for those of you that are currently farming, are you farming what I call your backyard? Where you live?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. There's another farming component that some people refer to as spot farming. So as an example, as you get a listing, you're like, oh, okay, I love this neighborhood. I think I want to do a little bit of marketing around this neighborhood, not only to promote the open house, but to promote my brand, my business. So when you get a listing, reach out to me. We pull a small farm around that listing, put some criteria in place that's important. As an example, homeowners that have been in their property for X amount of time, or homeowners that have at least 20% equity, then you're not really marketing to somebody that's just recently moved in and probably doesn't have any desire to make a change. Where's I going with that? Okay, so marketing your backyard. What about just a farm in general outside of, maybe not a listing, but just an area that you like? Anybody doing that? Yeah?
Well, I don't know if, I guess it's considered farming. I personally like to go to the beauty supply where all the wigs and the leaves are.
Yep.
I got my first client that way when I sold my first property.
Okay.
When I first got into real estate, so I tend to talk to a lot of the ladies, and I was also actually working for one, so I would help the ladies with their lace fronts and their, match their hair color with,
Nice.
all that, and I generated a lot of leads from that.
Yeah.
So that's like my go-to, because I like to be at the hair salon.
Of course. It's a win-win, right?
Makeup. So
Yeah.
I'm having fun at the same time that I'm farming and talking to ladies, and I tend to get the phone numbers. I don't just let people I don't just give out my card.
Okay.
I like to, especially when I feel like someone is ready, I like to get their phone number, especially if they express interest. Oh,
Yep.
yeah, I'm looking, or yeah, my kid, or my daughter, or
Love
then
it.
I like to get their phone number, and then I create, that's what I do.
No, I love it. Thank you for sharing. And I think that's a great idea. You want to get your face out there at any opportunity that you can, whether it be your community, where you get your barista, where you get your coffee. Just keep promoting yourself and getting your face out there. And not only with not just stuff, but with stuff that's value, right? And we'll talk about some things that you can send where homeowners might be more apt to hang on to your contact information or whatever you sent them. They'll hang on to that so your face is in their house. Maybe if it's even on the side of the refrigerator.
I haven't done it yet, but it's on my list, because I've got a fan list from you guys.
Yeah.
To market to English people that own property here.
Okay.
So, because I'm from England,
Of course.
I have that connection. So, my plan was just to kind of mail to them once a month. And there's not a lot on the list, there's probably about 100 to
Yeah.
200 people, so I think that's kind of manageable. And they don't have an agent here in Nevada, looking out for their interests in their property.
I love it. That's a great idea. Yeah, through like ethnicity. There's so many farming factors that we can factor into a farm that you could focus in on. I think we've got one for you, Allison, out of state. Texas, yeah. So that's a great idea, great information. And then something to think about too is so you got a farm, what does that look like? Okay, you got the farm, now what do you do? How do you reach those people? Is it by phone? Is it by postcard? Is it by targeted advertising online? So there's some of those things to kind of think about and write down those processes. And then as you work through them, work out the kinks. Maybe you try 2 things in a quarter, or 3 things in a quarter, maybe the third isn't working, you bring in another one, you try that for another quarter, and you see which kind of track your results, I guess is where I'm going with that.
See, and Ted, I think that's where I can get stuck is what you just said, I have my farm list and contacts, but then.
Now what?
this process,
Yeah, yeah. And I'm a firm believer in having a business plan, but now we're not here to talk about business plans, but also have a marketing plan. So what's your budget? You can factor into that as kind of a business plan too, as you know how many contacts you have to make. But a marketing plan could be as simple as I'm going to farm my backyard, and in the month of May. In the month of June, I'm going to send a letter of introduction. Okay. Following month, letter of introductions would be by email, or excuse me, regular letter, snail mail. Following month, I'm going to follow up with a market update. The following month, I'm going to do an email campaign for that same farm where I have emails. And then maybe partially that month, I'm going to make phone calls to that farm. There lies the consistency. There lies kind of the process and what you're going to do next. Same thing, spot farming, same concept. Get a listing, call Tim for data. I'm going to do X, and I'm going to do Y, and then I'm going to do Z. And if you can kind of get that in either on a spreadsheet or in front of you on a whiteboard, whatever works for you, there lies the consistency, and there lies the process. And then you might look back on it like, well, I did a letter of introduction, and I got 3 calls. Okay, I might be onto something. So try that on a listing in the area, letter of introduction, so on and so forth. So yes, always a challenge of finding out what to do, what to send, when to send it. All right, so we're farming to raise your brand awareness. More visibility. You're going to create trust and credibility, obviously through this process, lead gen and conversion. You can get it through referral business as far as how it impacts your business. It's going to give you a competitive advantage if you know the market and you're farming a neighborhood consistently. And then I think I have that listed twice, see? So what happens when your brain gets cold and you're not used to the coldness. And then obviously market awareness. I have that up there twice? No, but good. All right, so sources, let's talk sources. Somebody said SOI. Everybody know what SOI is? Okay. Does anybody, does everybody have it organized? Because when I talk to people just starting out or people that have been in the business for a while, maybe I don't know. I got some on my phone, I got some on my desktop computer, I've got some here, I got some in Google Contacts. Work on getting that organized so you can get it into your CRM and make that the hub of your business. There's geographic farming as an example. We can look in our zip code, 89149, and we can look at turnover rate, the rate of sale within a given year, and then all subdivisions that fall into a certain range. So what's a good, I'm gonna pick on you, Suzanne, what's the minimum, 8% turnover rate?
Yeah, about 8%.
Okay, so we can look at 8% up to, I don't know, 15% is what I usually ride with. Again, that way we're looking at, because a lot of people come to me like, hey Tim, can I farm 89149? Well, you can, but that's about 22,000 people, I'm guesstimating, but in and around that area. Way too big to farm consistently. I think you said you wanted your farm around 200 people. I think 200's a manageable farm to reach out to consistently in any shape or form. But if we look at subdivisions within 89149 as an example that fall into that percentage, and we look at the amount of homes that fall into that subdivision, one might have 50, one might have 100. The 100's a nice farm. So we can start to put some of those things into play. And I'll show you the program that I use. I can give you access to it. I don't mind doing it, but I can guarantee you that I can generate a farm quicker than any of you, because you have to learn the program. And why learn another program? Because you're trying to learn your CRM, you're trying to learn social media, and you're trying to get all of these things into play. when really the core of your business should be just interacting with people and getting deals, right? Agent-to-agent referrals. Zillow, Trulia, Homes.com. Who has a profile on Homes.com? Raise your hand. Okay, make a note. Go into Homes.com. I think it's free. And get yourself on there. Again, promote your face, promote your business. And I'm gonna do a whole another class on online presence. Majority of people I talk with, interact with, look at their online presence. About 73% of people are missing things. And I get it, you're busy. A lot to learn, a lot to take in. Expired listings. Anybody work expired listings?
I'm starting to.
Yeah, you? Success?
No, yes, I'm starting.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it can happen on your first call if you connect with somebody.
The thing is, when you call, there's so many other people,
Calling.
other agents. So
Or
they're
is there?
already mad with you.
Well, that's true.
They're
Could be.
happy.
But I look at it as this individual has had some type of challenge with getting their house sold. It could have been overpriced, whatever the case may be. Just press forward. If they yell at you and hang up on you, go on to the next one.
I think it's
Something
good to
consider.
go back, like a year or two, so that you're not getting the brand new expireds.
Yeah, yeah.
See if they relisted.
Yeah, they brought that up at our last business meeting, was, there's some agents that are starting to work the expired listings.
Yeah.
So they got a printout of all these expired listings and then waited a week to start calling them. And they called a potential phone number, they called them, and the person was not happy about it, and they had already relisted with a new agent, and the agent turned that prospecting agent into the division, so
Yeah.
they said basically, if you're gonna do expired, you need to check and make sure they're not back on MLS the
Okay.
day that you call.
Yeah. All right, it's good. It's a good point. Thank you
That's
for
good
bringing that up.
information.
Yeah. Seller specific, curious about what the value of your home is. I think you'd mentioned that you're doing the CMA challenge, Patrick.
Yeah,
How long have you been doing that? A couple
I
weeks?
just started it
Okay.
because I had to.
Get all the parts in motion in place to do it. And what a CMA is basically just reaching out to me for a farm, your backyard. We can look at the people have 20% equity, as an example. And then looking up on, what is it, Zillow, Realtor.com.
Open Door, Redfin, and Zillow.
Yeah, to see what their market value is. This is specific to an address. And then you can reach out to them. There's a graphic that you can update, whether it be sending it via email or text message, but you update that graphic. Basically, here's what I found your market value to be. I know I have in my mind what I feel it is. I'm curious to know what you feel yours is.
I think there's a link on, I don't know if it's in ROC Title or if it's on the YouTube page maybe, but there's the links are on there. I think Justin put them on there.
Okay.
The links with the script that you would text.
Okay, good. Good.
What is it called?
It's just a valuation.
I think they call it
it's
CMA a
text-
day challenge.
It's a
Maybe.
text valuation.
Yeah,
Text.
text, TXT.
So it's valuation?
Evaluation with a V.
So what I'm hearing is you can farm strictly based on what percentage someone has in equity?
Yes. And again, so we can pull together farms, kind of looking at this, APN, area code, census tract, subdivision, street address, obviously, zip code. But within the program that we use, we can get pretty deep as far as filtering criteria, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'm logged into my program.
What would you say is a good number to try to stay within for that list?
List size,
Yeah, to not get too big and overwhelmed or
Yeah,
too small as well.
I think anywhere between 100 to 200. 250 is fine. But then again, what's your overall game plan? Is it to do just your backyard, can we pull that farm there? Fine. And maybe you do that anyway. I think you should do that anyway, work your dang backyard, because it would infuriate me driving into my neighborhood and the next door neighbor has win-win realty, sorry, win-win, but somebody else other than myself that lives in the community. So I'm definitely farm your neighborhood 200 max, I think is a good number. Maybe you drop it to 100 max, because we put different filtering on that to keep it 100, because then that'll allow you, when you get your next listing, then you can do a spot one around that. And you get another listing, and you get a small one there, and those two combined make 100 there. So, I mean, I don't want you to have them working 50 farms, but definitely your backyard, I think, is huge. And then if you have kids, young kids, keep in mind, I've heard instances where the two kids got into a fight or something like that, and then when it came time to list their home, they wouldn't list with the agent because their kids got into a fight or something like that. So that's all right. I don't know. I tell my kids when they go to work, you're representative of yourself first, but me second, and I'm big in the community. Because I recently did a lot of work with my son on his car. We put in speakers and a subwoofer. I went way back in time, an amp, and then I'm like, okay, we got all this in place. Don't play the music loud. If you're at an intersection, turn it down. You're a representative of you and me. And then my wife came out and she's like, why are you guys playing that so loud? I'm like, we're trying to figure out the rattle. License plate is about to rattle off, even though it was silicone put on. But anyway, answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's doing open houses? One hand, two hands. Woo! We could just have like a whole class on open houses. So what's why are we not doing open houses?
Our team does that.
Okay, your team's doing them, good.
I just feel like ever since the market and all these high interest rates, I think that's why I haven't been doing it.
So you're setting your own obstacles in your mind.
So afraid
It's okay.
of no traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've done them, and
Yep.
there's not been a good turnout, so
Yeah.
I just feel like it's a waste.
I would like to get back into it and be consistent.
Yeah, I just recently did it. No, I did it for a different team, different office, but I do also do an open house presentation. If you can identify an open house like on a Monday or a Sunday, and work and spread the word and buzz about your open house, like 5-6 days, by way of email, Facebook, calling people, then I think you'll have more success and you'll alleviate that. Hopefully you'll overcome that fear of I'm not getting enough traffic. I mean, you can do all that and still may not get traffic. But again, the whole objective of doing open houses is, yes, to kind of sell a property, but more importantly, that's a lead generating. Because people are walking in. It's like if you work at a shoe store and people are walking in, I'm thinking they might need some shoes, right? Same thing. If you do an open house, that's your storefront. People are walking in. They're either curious because they live in the neighborhood, that's fine, but chances are they're probably looking for a house. So open house is a big one in my book. I know it's time consuming, but still I think it's worth it. FSBOs, for sale by owners, are there a lot on the market right now? I don't know. Okay, something to investigate. We can research that. That's just it. They want to sell their property on their own. They don't want anything to do with you. But maybe you do reach out to them because, again, you guys are the experts, right? So you know the process. If I'm trying to sell my home, I may or may not know how to do it properly.
I know this is kind of odd, but regarding kind of a FSBO, I guess I would call it like a reverse FSBO. The buyer wanted to represent himself in buying a property. They found the property, wanted to represent themselves.
Okay.
They reached out to the lender, and the lender referred it to me. And I'm telling you, we hit it off so good, and they were so thankful that they had an agent represent them in the end. But yeah, at first he's like, he was all down on, I've never you know, didn't like realtors and blah, 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 and didn't wanna have an agent represent him and all of this. And even the listing agent said, I highly recommend that you find an agent. And like I said, the lender that I work closely with, he called me and he said, you know, would you be willing to do this? They've already found the houses, and of course I'll do it. And I ended up loving them, and
Yeah.
they loved me, and it
That's
ended up
awesome.
working great, but, so kind of a reverse fizz
No,
bump.
for sure. And reach out to those individuals and like, listen, I know you're trying to sell your property. How about we work out an agreement, have an agreement in place that you're gonna work on this property for a week. Because I'm gonna drive traffic to your property, I'm gonna get you exposure, and for my services, I get a whatever percentage you guys agree on, if it sells. And then I'm happy to, you know, represent you on down the line if you're selling now and buying across town or whatever the case may be. If not, so be it. But let me drive traffic to your business, or to your home, excuse me. Because again, that's lead gen for you, right? The more people you're in front of, the more you can get into your CRM, the more you can reach out to. Investors, and then obviously ROC Title. Keep losing my little, I need those little chains to put this on. So I keep losing it. But we can pull data here, as I had mentioned earlier. Talk briefly about business plan, marketing plan. I've got a couple of them in a spreadsheet. If that helps you, if you want to look at that, I'll have to send that on. Oh boy, what to send? You touched on that a little earlier, Allison. So quarterly proof of production mailer, whether it be you're like, well, I'm just starting. Maybe you're on a team. Maybe you use a team's production. Bi-weekly email blasts, market updates, and then everything that you touch, everything that you leave behind, anywhere you go, have your face on it. Branding, contact information. Right? I don't have anything on. I should have my badge on, my bad. But I sometimes wear it upside down. Because then when I'm talking with people, if I'm getting a coffee, they're like, hey, it's upside down. Oh, it is. Hey, I'm in realtor, or I'm in the business, and you strike conversation that way. In-person events, appreciation events, big. So in my community, there are 80 houses. I know there's one other title rep that lives 7 houses from me. I know that there's an agent across the street. I look out my window, right there, agent, real estate agent, and there are 2 other agents within the community of 80 homes. With the agent across the street, pretty close to home, I won't do business. But that said, in the 4 years I've lived there, 2 calendars. I mean, I guess get your face out there and get it into the homes. I'm not big on calendars personally, or recipes. That's just me though. There's gonna be a percentage of me's out there, right? But point being, there is another agent, different company outside that doesn't live in my community that consistently, like clockwork, I get something in my mailbox. And I will, if and when well, probably not, because there's so many people that I could pick and choose from Realty One Group. But as a homeowner, I'm gonna be more apt to reach out to the individual that's been in front of me. Okay? All right. Put your face everywhere, invest in your business. Again, that kind of falls back to your marketing plan, your business plan, how much money you're gonna reinvest into your business for marketing purposes. I think that's it for my slideshow. I'll jump into what we use to pull data, and then we'll just kind of talk about that. Questions so far? Thoughts? Don't be shy. Some good information so far? Okay. All right, so this is called Title Pro 247. And again, if you want, I can get you access to the program. There's a lot of great things about the program. It's a massive program. I'm still learning things about the program. There are training videos. There's a knowledge bank, so there is help there. But again, if you want to farm, reach out to me. I'll get it for you. But if you want to play in the wee hours of the evening and you need something to help you fall asleep, I'll let you have that opportunity too. What I do really like about this program too is, right here I can just drop in an address and get a property report, like that. And it's like 32 pages long. It talks about everything about the property, everything transactionally that's gone on with the property. It talks about sales in the area and they're mapped, so on and so forth. So a lot of great information from this. Still, if you reach out to me, hey Tim, I'm going on a listing and I'd like to get a property report. So we have two that we can generate. One we generate here, and if you text that to me, and if I'm not doing a class like this, or I'm not sitting down with somebody, I can get that back to you probably within easily 5-10 minutes, if I'm sitting at my desk or what have you. The other one is called what we call Kibble, Know Before You List. And that's a deeper dive into a property to see what's going on in title. So that way you're a little more prepared when you walk into the listing appointment. You know what's going on with the property, you have some questions you can ask if need be. But either or, property profile, generate 10 minutes or less. The Know Before You List takes about 24 hours, sometimes sooner.
So when we ask for a property profile, do we get this or do we get the other?
You have to ask specific.
Yeah, so you specifically say, hey, I'm going on a listing appointment,
And what's the different, like, what major things would you say were the difference between what's in each report?
this one's definitely gonna be a deeper dive into title. Are there any, is there anything on title that you should be aware of that you can ask the homeowner about? So it's called Kibble, Know Before You List. We can do them in printed format, nice little binder, or we can do it digital.
Is that like a prelim?
Yeah, it's basically, if you think about that as a prelim.
So this would be like deeper. It
A
would
deeper,
be a more,
Think prelim,
okay,
think property report,
okay.
okay?
And that one you need a little bit advance warning, where this one you can get pretty quickly.
Yes, yeah. And it just depends on the work queue, right? How many people are ahead of you as far as trying to generate that type of information.
Does it
All right.
give all the mortgage information, the balance?
Yeah. Won't have balance, because then we'd have to be tied into the mortgage companies, and we wouldn't be available to do that. But we can, within a farming list, look at not mortgage balances, but different mortgage instances, like people that have an adjustable rate mortgage, as an example. I can show you those too.
So HOA, would it have information on the HOA or anything like that? Like if it has an HOA 1 or 2 or anything like that?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Maybe on the Kibble, but I'd have to ask and look internally. Okay. So just basically your main menu up here. I always go.
Tim, does this program, this will give you a farm of addresses, and can you do phone numbers and emails?
Great question. Yes. I'll show you how to basically generate a farm. Within this program, you do have the ability to get phone numbers where present. They are scrubbed against the do not call list. For some of you that care about that. Some people are like, I don't care. Ask for mercy later, after. But some people are like, I want to know, and that's fine. Emails, no. But again, I think it's important when you pull a farm that you do have as much contact information as you can, especially when you're bringing them into the CRM. I consider that to be a full record. So if you have, obviously you're going to have homeowner name, mailing address, phone number, and email, and what type of phone it is, whether it be landline or mobile. Okay. The more information you can get, that furthers your prospecting ability, because you had mentioned, what do I send next? What do I do next, right? Well, first one's easy. You're going to mail something to them, right? And that could be, again, a letter of introduction. I keep saying letter of introduction. Anybody know what that is? I think it's kind of easy to figure out. But a lot of people send out a market update, which is fine. I believe it belongs in that circle or process of prospecting. But letter of introduction is, hey, I live in a neighborhood, been in a neighborhood for 22 years. whatever the case may be, as long as you feel comfortable about saying it. And here are my services. Okay. So definitely. So how that works is it whether you generate the farm or you ask me for the farm, I'll ask you if you want phone numbers and emails, and then you say yes, and I will send it off to my data company, and they will append emails where present. Okay. So that gives you an opportunity to send something via email. All right, so basically we got, we can select by APN, area code, census tract, again, subdivision, zip code, all these right here. I sense that that scrolls down, and there's probably even more. We have basically a map, so let's do this. Anybody have a listing address right off the top of their head? Or an address?
7229 Winding Creek.
That was too quick, hold on. What's the address again?
7229
7229
Winding Creek.
Winding. And see what happens, it's kind of like Google, right? Popped right up here, Winding Creek. So you're gonna have to type in the full address. By clicking that, I now have a visual of where this property is. So I can zoom out a little bit. It's kind of hard to see the street names with the satellite version. So you can change that very easily to map. And then you can see the street names very easily. So this is Hacienda, Tenaya Way, Rainbow, Russell. So when I look at that, a lot of times when people ask me for a farm, okay, so is it the immediate neighborhood? Is it a radius around? So when you do reach out, prepared for some questions coming back to you, do you want 200 records? Do you want just the immediate area because you have an open house, you gotta walk the neighborhood? And sometimes even just jumping on a quick Zoom call, or even a snapshot if you know that I wanna market this square, if you will. Okay, so let's look at that square real quick. So again, there's radius tools. And this is why I say reach out to me and I'll pull the farm for you, because then you gotta try and learn all this. Unless you want to, I'm happy with that either way. And sometimes you have to be a little more precise because I may have bled over into this area. But this square represents 418 homes, okay? And then we can make this a little bit smaller. Maybe we just bring this up here, or maybe we just look at people that have equity.
Yeah, we do that right there.
Yeah, so if I hit add, it brings it over here, 418 homes. And then we have some cool things called instant lists. So this is just quick filters that we can drop in on a farm. Homeowners with equity, move-up buyers, empty nesters, pre-foreclosure, sales schedule, distress type, absentee owners, out-of-state homeowners, cash buyers, negative equity. That's just quick lists that we have, right? And then we have lender instant lists, so adjustable loans, FHA identified, term and rate reduction, a plethora of them, and then we also have commercial data that we can pull.
Something not completely related to this that I just thought of when you said this, and I think I talked to you about this before. I used to get like a default list from ROC Title. Does that still exist?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't get it anymore.
Okay.
What is it
No,
called?
well, not okay.
Well, what is it called?
Notice of default.
Yeah, notice of default.
Yeah.
Probably the easiest way, just shoot me a text or an email, and then I will get you added to the distribution list.
Okay.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of shark bait?
Shark bait?
That's a
Like chum?
My hearing's going, so I got to step into this one.
Like I had been about 18 or 19, I'm almost 40 now. So maybe I don't know if the program is still around, but it will filter out people that have, well, in the Bay Area, it will, especially San Francisco, the West Oakland,
Yeah.
it will spit out a lot of people that had, equity, and then like my uncle, he'll go out and try to get those people to do the cash for deed right on the spot.
Well, that's what they're.
Right. So along those lines, I'm not familiar with that program.
With our fake, it's
Yeah.
old, it's,
Yeah.
it's still.
And I'm older than that, so I definitely don't know it for whatever reason. But I want to choose homeowners with equity. So it took the list from 418 down to 223. And that's just a minimum of 20% equity that these individuals have. And this is all single-family residents. If there are any townhomes or whatever, we could either leave them in or filter them out, but this is all single-family residents in that area. Nice sized farm, 223 people have equity.
Can we go up beyond 20%?
You can go in and adjust it, it gets back into up here. And there's a ton of stuff that we can filter by. We can filter properties that have basements. We can filter properties if you have a buyer that's looking to live in a certain subdivision and they're looking for a certain house, maybe it's a 1-story with a pool, with 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. We can put all of that in and generate a farm of that exact criteria.
Does it show in this site the phone numbers, or you have to send that out to get it from another?
Yeah, great question. So just kind of moving forward on this, if I were to save this, I would change it to something I would remember what the farm is. So Jocelyn, Winding Creek, I would probably put that up there to save it. And then once I save it, and I go to next, and then here are my exports. So right now, this is telling me that these are so a spreadsheet, these are the categories, so APN, FIPS code, country, county name, property address, city, state, zip, owner's name, mailing address, mailing city, mailing state, mailing zip, detailed property, equity, percentage. We can add to that, we can add all types of demographics to that by this. And you see all these marital status, presence of children, surname, ethnicity, all these things pop up. You can get lost in this program with all the options, right? So it's just, I think, going to be a work in progress of getting the farm. Then you're thinking about ethnicity. What could I do with that? You talked about, English, so on and so forth. Phone numbers, that was a question. So here, I would go down here and just type in phone. And it gives me the option for phone number, so I click that, and phone number type, whether it be landline or cell, and then get now. When I get now, it gives me the CSV spreadsheet format, and then it does give you the option of adding labels. And I always add labels because we even get into what you're going to send, how you're going to send it. If you can do a letter of introduction, what's the envelope look like? Is it going to be handwritten? Not if I'm doing it, because my handwriting is jacked, so to speak. My daughter's is pretty nice, but do you want to handwrite something that will have a higher percentage of getting opened as opposed to just a regular envelope hidden in somebody's mailbox that has a label on it?
Do you provide labels?
Cannot, that's a RESPA violation. I can provide you with it's a document, PDF format. And all you have to do is just open up that document and then labels in your printer, right? And then you hit print. But yeah, we can't help. Now maybe a lender, potentially. I know there's a lot more leeway, flexibility with lenders, like dual marketing, so on and so forth, but yeah. And then from here, download it, and you have your form. And that's just gonna be all these fields and phone number where present. And then you'd have to send it to me if you were doing this on your own, or we'd have to have that discussion. Do you wanna add emails to it? Yes. Okay. let's go back real quick. Just wanna highlight a few of the other filtering criteria. What was that address again, Jocelyn?
7229 Winding Creek.
Let's try a radius this time, just to show you what that looks like.
It proved that we did their closing.
One more time. Hold on, I can't do more than one thing at a time. I'll just do this.
Are we gonna get the next one?
Okay, that's 152, that works. All right, so property, an endless list, fireplaces, pool, so on and so forth. Was there a question that I didn't answer? No, okay. Seller type, year built, so on and so forth. List goes on and on. Mortgage, loan amount. You had asked about loan amount. So I guess it would be a range if you're looking for a farm that people have an existing mortgage between 100 to 475. Okay. Even interest rate, so on and so forth. So that's mortgage. Demographics, age, ethnicity, gender, income, marital status, occupation, presence of children, distressed, people that are delinquent on their taxes, foreclosure type, REO, short sale,
Any state,
any state,
like for
California.
side stuff. that-
San Francisco, California?
Yeah.
Yes.
Side stuff.
Yeah.
And did it have expired of disposal, because it's not connected to the MLS?
Not through this program, but we do have other programs within ROC Title that we can generate FISBOs, list, and expired, so on and so forth. So you just have to reach out for that. Okay.
Would it show if they're late on their mortgage payments on that side or not?
Mortgage,
Like 2-3 months or something?
That's the default. That's the default.
no, I don't think it shows that it would be,
They don't have to file it.
yeah, it wouldn't show that they're late, because we'd have to be tied in to each mortgage company. Okay, Gretel here, I mean, again, I'm not gonna go into it, do you have a question?
On a brand new subdivision, like a new listing, what would be the recommendable way to send a postcard? Everybody in there or older by a year older?
For a what type property?
Brand new listing, a listing for a brand new subdivision, like that one.
Okay, brand new subdivision,
Well, it's been probably a few years maybe,
okay.
but it's new.
Yeah, so probably the way I would address that is, again, get the address for that subdivision or subdivision name, we could pull it there.
Yeah.
And then we just play with the numbers. If we just type it in and we're gonna get the whole entire subdivision, and it's 200, and then we apply equity, and it drops it to 0 or 5, then you're like, ugh.
Well, I requested through ROC Title and they sent me a 389 something, so. And it's,
Yeah, and that's,
yeah, I'm trying to send a postcard, I've got like $400 to send.
yeah, that's fine. But again, that's a large number, right? So that's how I guess work a little bit differently than the customer service, because we were two individuals, or, you know, they just sent you a farm for that entire area, but
Right.
what about equity?
That's
what about
that's
some of these
what I'm
other
asking
things that we
to
could
see
talk
what
about?
would be the recommendable,
Yeah,
you know, like a year older?
call me and we play with the numbers to get it to what makes sense. We can find it and get it down to 200. I think 200 is a great farm.
Yeah, I think so.
Who's using Corfact? Who's heard
I
of
use-
Corfact?
That's what I use.
Okay. Great. Thing I like about Corfact is pretty easy. They're pretty reasonably priced as far as I can tell, as far as being competitive in the market area. But the thing I do like about it too is they can put a QR code on the back of the postcard that prompts the homeowner to find out how much their the value is of their property. So if you send it to that farm that you're talking about, and somebody scans that, you're gonna get that lead information sent to you directly.
There's a caveat to that.
There's no phone numbers.
No, it's, in the Corfac website, there's a box that you have to check because it's either a soft inquiry or a hard inquiry. And if you do a hard inquiry, that means that they have to register to get their valuation. Because the QR code is for them to send you to the website to get
Yep.
evaluation.
Put in their information.
So you can force them to have to put their info in, or you can do the soft inquiry where they don't have to put their info in so they can still get the valuation.
Mm.
So that way you're not collecting as much information, but I talked to the girl at Corfac and she said that a lot of times if you go with the hard inquiry, a lot of people will just stop at that point and they won't go any further. So you give them a little kibble of here's the valuation and then hopefully they will pursue it.
They act on it, yeah, that's good information. The other thing about that too is who signed up for USPS to where you get an email every morning to find out what's in your email or what's showing up. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Darn, my wife signed up for that. So she knows what's coming in mail-wise. But yeah, so it's another set of eyes on what you're sending to that neighborhood if they're signed up for that program. It's kind of like a double lead situation.
What? I don't understand.
Yeah, so you can sign up with USPS,
Right, I have that.
your personal. So you look at your email and then you see what's coming in for Chinese mail, right?
Right.
Well, if I'm a real estate agent and I'm sending to your neighborhood, you're gonna look at my postcard through your email, right? Because you check your email every day.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So
Yeah.
they'll see it on the
So you're like,
email
oh,
and
somebody's
in
sending me
person.
something. Somebody sent me a handwritten letter that I don't know. Okay, that creates, hopefully, I'm gonna be more curious about that and I'm gonna open it up when it physically shows up in my mailbox. A little more exposure, I guess. Okay.
Hey, Tim, I had another question too about, and I heard this at a different meeting, that you could check for, not the equity, but, oh God, what was it? It was really important. I just had it, and I went to write it down and I lost it.
That's right. It'll come back to you around midnight, like it does me.
Call us tonight, let us know.
We all
I
understand.
don't know what would be on the middle of the night.
How does the program calculate the equity?
Great question. I would imagine just through probably time,
How long the mortgage has been in place?
yeah, that, and then maybe there's some other wizardry going on where they have information about the mortgage, interest rates, so on and so forth, and they can kind of look at all those factors to come up with a percentage, yeah.
Oh, the home selling, that's what it was, I'm sorry. You could pick a farm, and I guess you could find out, like, you don't wanna pick a farm where there's nothing selling.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, so that goes back to,
The turnover
Yeah.
percentage.
yeah,
Percentage. Yeah, there's a percentage of how much that area is selling or that community is selling.
right,
And you don't wanna go to a community that never sells, that's
Yes.
10%.
Yeah.
Like my.
10% isn't bad though.
No, well, it's lower.
2%, like your neighborhood, right? And that's the other thing that, I know you have the ability to log into, obviously the MLS, but there's a way to determine, and correct me if I'm wrong, and again, I don't have access to the MLS, but there's a way to determine how many sales in a neighborhood, yeah? But it also will list the agent, if you go back a year. So if you see a Suzanne Zedlitz in there, maybe you don't want to compete with Suzanne. Something to think about. Or Steve Hawks, or anybody else that you might remember or know of.
If I sold like 3 or 4 houses in that community, I might be marketing that community really heavily. So, I mean, I would not be, it wouldn't stop me.
Yeah.
I'm saying you shouldn't, I'm just saying it's something to think about before you start investing dollars into that neighborhood. Is there somebody that's really predominant in that neighborhood? Do I want to go on, do I want to tackle that? If you do, fine. If not, then let's just move next door and see what's going on next door as far as the neighborhood goes. But yes, the percentage of turnover is important, I think, and I think a lot of times, again, with the farm that maybe sometimes get through customer service, if you don't know to ask for a percentage of turnover, they're just gonna send you a farm, 389 people.
And so do we have areas out here where no one's really selling because they can't get a better rate, or because they're just grandfathered in, or?
No, all along here, on your road is rural, so these people have owned these homes since there was nothing up here. They're not gonna sell, they have horses, cows, they're not gonna sell their property, it's generational property, they're probably never going to sell it. So marketing in those areas is, you're just burning your dollars.
Yeah.
because
Right.
They're not going to sell, whether it's you or me or anyone marketing, they're not gonna sell.
That's a good point too, and with the given in today's market rates and where they're at percentage wise, maybe that's another thing we factor into a farm is, you know, percentage of turnover in that neighborhood, but then also there's interest rate I saw pop
Right,
in
if
there.
they have a low interest rate, they're probably not.
Yeah, I'm sitting at like a 3%. It's gonna be hard pressed to make any moves for me. But if you can, you know, get that in a range, something a little bit higher interest rate that's closer to where the market rate is right now.
So how does that work, all these 3 people and 2 people, but they want some cash out? How are they handling that? You have a 3, you have a 2, you have a 4, but you need some cash.
Yeah.
You have equity, but of course, if you refinance into what's going on now,
Yeah.
your rates, so how
You
are they valuing?
Home equity line.
Yeah, I think that falls more into like a lender situation, reaching out to a lender to say, hey, I'm sitting at 3%, but I need cash out. What programs do you have available?
Yeah, either HELOC or.
Yeah. Questions? I mean, anything else you want to chat about? I'm happy to continue talking for a bit. Is there something that I maybe missed that you're like, there was something that
Is the best time to call you in the office?
you can call me anytime. If I'm doing a class like this, I won't pick up, but I'll call you as soon as I'm done. And chances are rare I'll be in Montana, hopefully not very soon, but if need be, I could be on in an airplane. But I'm always available, for the most part.
Just a comment on people that are not selling, you know, like if it's like a newer community that was only a year or 2 years old, because the average turnover is like every 5 to 7 years, so those would be the communities you would want to go into.
I just like drawing on the wall, because I'm tiny things. Just something to think about, you know, we've talked about, so you get your farm, right? And then I think Allison had said this earlier, what's next? So start to think about processes, so you could send a letter of introduction, and then follow it up with a market update postcard, and then phones, call, and then email, and then look at the community. Maybe they have a community center that you can get involved with. The whole idea of this is, like, back home where I live, my mom's 90, right? She's not gonna be on Facebook, not gonna be on Instagram. She might pick up the phone if I call. Definitely not gonna pick up the phone if she doesn't recognize the phone number. The only way you're gonna get in touch with my mom or somebody of that age, in that age group, potentially, is buy something in the mail, right? Okay, but 4 houses down, my brother lives at 4 houses down. He gets his mail once a week, throws it in the back seat of his car, and off he goes. I don't even know if he opens it. And if you're, sorry, Dennis, but that's my brother. There's a percentage of people out there that just don't look at their mail as often. He will pick up his phone, and he is a little bit on social media. Point being, the more diversified, the more platforms that you can be on consistently, the greater your reach of being in front of people. Because if you only say, I'm just gonna do postcards. Well, then you're only gonna reach a percentage of people in those neighborhoods that are only gonna open up the letter when it comes into their mailbox, or they're gonna look at the postcard. So make sure you mix it up, different platforms, do it consistently, and keep evaluating and tracking, and get your name out there. Send something of value. Jocelyn, did you ever send the bulk thing? I know I'm calling you out in the middle of the group. Remember the bulk? The bulk?
No, I did not.
Okay.
It was Christmas, so you
Okay.
know, money like that.
All right. I hear
We're
you.
all broke.
All right. So I talk about this anytime I talk about it. Tom Ferry's even talking about it. I don't know. Tom Ferry, I gotta reach out to my lawyers because I think he's tapping into some of my stuff, special sauce here. But he has a much more power. So anyway, Tom, go do your stuff. Anyway, so point being, again, send something of value. One thing that in my community that I think would be valuable is that there are 80 homes. My son's responsible for taking out the garbage every Monday. Every Monday I watch him walk out, and he walks out and he's looking up the street, looking down the street, looking for boxes, trying to figure out if it's bulk day or not.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then if my neighbor gets it wrong, well, now we got stuff sitting out and like, so point being, here's an idea. Come up with a sticker that goes either on the wall by the garbage cans or on the garbage cans that has your contact information in it, and then each day the bulk shows up each month. Okay, that's valuable. People are gonna look at it, even if it is an 18-year-old taking out the garbage. Something again to keep you in the homes with your face, with your contact information, more so than apple pie recipe. But that could be good too. All right, thank you so much for attending. Any questions, let me know. You know how to get in touch with me. Happy to help, happy to get farms for you.
Thank you.
Happy to further the discussion as well. Let's try this. You got your phone handy?
Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. I think I just put this up there. Didn't I? Not even the camera.
On the camera?
Well, try the camera here. There's two different ways. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Fancy, huh?
Oh, they wanna.
And then you can save me as a contact. Or there's other options too.
How do we get into the program? Is it all online or do we get online?
Yeah, great question. I
I
probably should have-
texted you.
Yeah,